Good morning and welcome to today's investor webinar presented by Lincoln Minerals. This morning, Lincoln will discuss advancements at its Minbrie copper base metals project in the Gawler Craton in South Australia and their plans to drill in the next quarter. To tell us more, we're pleased to be joined by Lincoln's Chief Executive Officer, Jonathan Tuatha. If you have questions during the webinar, please use the raise hand feature in Zoom, and we'll now do our best to address them during the Q&A. I'll now hand you over to Jonathan.
Thank you very much, Kristen, and welcome, and thank you for joining for this presentation and an update of Lincoln Minerals. Today, I'll mostly discuss our Minbrie copper base metals project. It's in the Gawler Craton, famous for large mineralised systems like Olympic Dam, Prominent Hill, Carrapateena, and now Hillside. We've got 7 kilometres of confirmed mineralisation, which was just announced on Tuesday, which is exciting. We've got an amazing discovery hole of 29.5 metres at 0.8% copper, 9% zinc, 9% lead, 2% zinc and silver, and we're planning to drill next quarter. So Lincoln has 4 major commodities and projects, and at various stages from greenfields to advanced feasibility. We'll go into copper base metals in most of this presentation. With our graphite, we've actually got a high grade at surface on a mining lease graphite project surrounded by infrastructure. We currently did our PFS which ended in 2024. Great IR of 41%. 2-stage. First stage was a startup capital of 29 million. The graphite price, we feel, has hit the bottom last year, and now sentiment is coming back to the graphite market, and we'll be ticking along that as the market comes up. We feel that a lot of that's over the geopolitics is driving that, and just natural graphite market cycles. So we've got 1.2 billion tonnes of high purity iron. That is we want to start moving into a DFS there and approvals. We're looking for a partner before we do that, but it is an awesome asset. And then uranium, early stage uranium. It's an emerging uranium province in the Gawler Craton. We've got one of our projects which is upstream from Alligator Energy, and that's looking very prospective. So there's been some good movement in the share price recently. We've got a rights issue on at the moment. Share price is currently trading today at 1 cent. So we've got a $1.5 million cap rights issue in place, which we're planning to close next week. So South Australian Gawler Craton, South Australia we're in an amazing place. 10% of the world copper reserve is in the Gawler Craton. 23% of global uranium in South Australia, producing 5 mines producing 10% of the global uranium production. For graphite, largest share of confirmed graphite reserves are on the Eyre Peninsula, and with the high purity iron, South Australia's got 43% of the magnetite resources in Australia. So highly prospective area for us. The thing we also really love is we're surrounded by infrastructure in a great jurisdiction. We've got 132 kV line coming over a lot of our properties. So we've got the power. Water's being resolved from building of a desal plant at Port Lincoln, but there's also bore water, other water sources that we've got. We've also got close to regional airport at Port Lincoln, and for Minbrie, we've got a regional airport at Whyalla. We've also got either ports planned or actually in construction or built and operating. So surrounded by infrastructure, and that means effectively low capex. We're focusing on Minbrie because copper is on the rise, and it's good fundamentals. But basically, copper is required for EVs, renewables, grids, data centers, and that is ever increasing. There is the grades of these mines are getting lower, and less, and there are a few coming online. So there's a structural supply gap, and so we can see a shortfall and prices increasing. So we've sort of said, well, Minbrie is a great place for us to focus. As I said, we're in the Gawler Craton in a great copper province, and we'll be drilling next quarter. So the Minbrie discovery was an accident. It was done in 2011. The story behind it was the Centrex was the operator. They were focused and they had the rights for iron ore only. They were drilling out their bungalow project. Which they drilled 262 holes over that 7 Ks. They didn't know about the any mineralization below the iron ore, and it was just 3 rigs were drilling on night shift. The instructions for the drillers was you keep drilling until you punch through the iron formation, and then you stop 2 meters afterwards. But if it was night shift, you could keep going till the geologist rocked up. So 3 rigs, night shift, geologist rocked up in the morning, saw this massive sulfide, got excited, and drilled for another 3 shifts. And the thing was that Lincoln had the rights for every other mineral besides iron. So Centrex drilled it for no commercial gain for them, but lucky for us. I would like to just pause on how good this hole is and give some context. So when you go to mine copper, the width of your ore body, what we call true thickness. Now that is, you can mine 5 meters down to 3, but you can mine at narrow vein at about 5 at 2% copper equivalent, or if it's a bulk mine, typically 20 to 30 meters at just over 1% copper equivalent, you can mine that. We've got in true thickness 20 to 23 meters at around 3% copper equivalent. This is a great hole on its own. And so we're excited. We're going to be excited to be following up on that drilling. So Tuesday's announcement, the geologists have come back and said, "Yep, we can now confirm that you've got a strong mineralization system over the 7 Ks, and that has been from sampling, assaying from the previous drill holes, which there was only that one hole, Bud 192, that actually punched through our target zone. Everything was above, but you can clearly see that the mineralization is continuous over the package. Shallow at depth, Bud 192 is only 120 meters, which is easily open pittable, and some of those hits are above 300 meters, which is also open pittable. We've got it's open to the north, down depth, and somewhat to the south, and it's been low cost to date, unlocking this mineralized system. So we're planning to drill. We're focused on the northern section first, and so the immediate targets around the discovery hole. Then we've got that northern extension, which is the last 2 holes to the north. They're actually really interesting because not only have they got lead zinc, they've all and a bit of copper, they've also got some a nickel and cobalt, which is interesting. So, but yeah, so we're open to the north, and then also we're going to be testing around. There's an east-west shear zone coming on with the Kalanjara, which we'll also be tackling. So our first 3 drill holes around that 29 meters, 29.5 meter discovery hole, and we'll be testing the oxide, which no one tested for, and down dip. Now you'll see Bud the hole 30. Now that we've got bornite veining at the bottom. So just as that hole entered, the geologist said if that hole continued, it would be really. He predicted that we'd hit the mineralization. So that's going to be an exciting bottom hole to follow up and extend. So we're drill ready early next quarter. We're finalising the drill holes for that north strike and around the intersections of the faults. Submitting our permits, 2 months. There's been a minor delay because the mines department have changed their system to digital, but that's just paperwork. We're on farmland. Got a great arrangement with the farmers. Get along well. So we're not anticipating any normal delays besides them swapping over their system. We'll select and engage our driller, and drilling next quarter. So I'll just touch on our other 3 projects a bit more detail. So once again, that competitive advantage, we're surrounded by infrastructure. We've only got 6 Ks for power. We've got 13 Ks to get water online. On the mining lease at surface, and that nice height grade in the start as a starter pit. So we can start. It won't take too much for the metal price to get up, that we could be in a good position to start. Uranium, we'll tick this over. So we've got an Explorer uranium at a lower steady pace, and the high purity iron, we're just mainly focused on a partner. Interesting opportunity if the South Australian government puts quad trucks, mostly for the farmers for their shipping their grain, but that would easily open us up being able to truck to Whyalla, or potentially truck to Whyalla. So we've got multiple catalysts across these commodity classes. Not only could the metal prices change, we've got the drilling in the northern corridor with our RC and diamond drill tails. We'll be doing more metallurgy around the graphite and looking for a partner there. Uranium, we plan to do infill drilling at Jungle Dam Paleo Channel, and we'll be planning that. And then there's more field surveys around our Carnot mineralisation that we found on surface. And as I said, with the green iron, we are looking for commercial partners. Thank you. As I said, we're in the Gawler Craton, home of big mineralisation systems. We've got that 7 Ks. We've got that discovery hole at 29.5 at around 3% copper equivalent, and we'll be drilling next quarter. So thank you for listening.
Thanks, Jonathan. Now we have some time for a couple of questions. The first question that's come through, there is obviously some excitement about Minbrie, but that appears to be a longer-term proposition. How is the company sequencing its actions with its other mines in the interim to ensure it has cash flow?
Good question. So our main focus is on Minbrie. That has got a potential major discovery, and it's got our best return on investment that we can put in. So that is our major focus. with the graphite, we'll be progressing that towards doing a BAM scoping study over the next 12 months. But that'll be starting near the end of this year and early into next year. Our uranium, we'll be once again ticking that over with the Jungle Dam. Our plans to drill, we're not pushing it, will be later next year, first half. And with the green iron, we're always in discussions with various people. So that's how we're progressing our portfolio.
Okay, excellent. Thanks, Jonathan. This question's around the rights issue you mentioned earlier in the presentation. How is the rights issue going, and can I buy more shares in the offer?
Rights issue is going really well. We're happy how the progress has gone. I mean, some simple examples is that the right for the options for the rights that traded up to 0.4 cents, and then we've been able to share trading has been up to 1.1 cents, so that's awesome. So we've attracted a lot of attention and new buying. In terms of buying more shares now, it is you can put more money into using the same system as buying your shares. If there is shares left over, rights left over, they can then be redistributed. Then there's an opportunity that you might get some shares there. But if you don't, then we'll be returning your money on that one. So it's by just topping up what you're going to take on your rights.
Okay.
Yeah.
The next question, you've answered part of it, but it says, how does the recent increase in Lincoln's share price affect what's offered in the rights issue, and what has been the response from shareholders to date?
Okay, so shareholders are lucky. At the moment, trading 1.11 to 1.1 cents. There's going to be no change to that 0.5 cents. So there is a really healthy discount. So our shareholders will benefit from that. So that's awesome. In terms of the uptake and everything, things seem to be going well.
Okay, thanks, Jonathan. Well, thank you to everyone that has attended. This is all we have time for today. A recording of this webinar will be made available in the coming days. For further updates, visit Lincoln's website at www.lincolnminerals.com.au. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Thanks, Kristen.